Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. It's been far too long since we talked Commander. It's been far too long since we played Commander as far as that goes. And sadly, I played my last game of Commander, well, for a while, and sort of. I put that forth once before as a hypothetical, and it was to one of the core four that I've played with ever since, well, I want to say since the inception of Commander, since those first Commander decks came out from Wizards of the Coast. And well, quite simply, one of our number is moving out of the area. So two things that gave us the chance to play our final game of Commander. And it also is now encouraging me to get things working so that we can play on Spell Table again soon. But this video is just about what I learned playing that last game of Commander. What I learned is to be sure to play a well-constructed deck before you sit down at the table to play. Be sure you have a well-constructed deck before you sit down to play. And yeah, that's basically it. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. I was trying to keep this short so I wouldn't bore you. So there you go. If you do want to know how I got to that conclusion, you're welcome to stick around here because there is a little bit more to it. Let's talk about how we arrived at that conclusion. Yeah, let's do that. A little bit of context. There is a group of us. Some of us have been playing together for 25 years. Some of us closer to 15, maybe 10, maybe a little less. I don't know. But anyhow, it's that group of guys, that pod that we've been playing Commander in, like I say, right from the beginning. And so it led to long games, lots of long games, because we knew what everybody else was going to play and had an idea. In this particular case, we played in Nekozar. We played a Riku of the Two Reflections. And we played, I played Gaia, Gold Color Gisa, rather. That was the one that I chose. When it came down to it, knowing that this was going to be the last game of Magic Commander that we were going to play for quite some time, and with this specific pod, I maybe spent more time making my choice on what I wanted to play than my cohorts did. And I went as a content creator with an eye towards what can I learn from this. Indeed, what I chose was the deck that first showed me no matter how much money or how little money you put into a Commander deck, you could still win. No. I played a budget deck. What initially started out as a budget deck and proved to me that you could win regardless of what anybody else played. I think I said that correctly. I played Nekozar. Nekozar is against a Nekozar, which is one of the hated commanders in our pod. Not necessarily by me. I've actually played that deck myself. I understand when you're sitting behind it and you're piloting it, that's one thing. And it doesn't seem as OP as impressive as it can from the other side. But I digress. The other one I played was Riku of the Two Reflections, which was introduced to me or introduced to us at the table as one of my less powerful decks. Let's be honest. Riku doubles spells and tokens, and if that's not a powerful deck, you built it wrong. Having said that, now it sounds like I'm butthurt about playing against that. I'm not, because, he didn't win the game either. That third commander that I wasn't paying any attention to, and that, Brian never told me what it was, even when I asked him afterwards. It doesn't matter, because that's the one that won. I'm going all over the place. I apologize. I'm just so happy to be talking to you again. Number one thing that I learned playing this game was, if it's not your problem, don't kill it. Nekuzar, as I mentioned earlier, is one of the hated commanders at the table, but actually leaving that on the table and that incremental damage that Enrique was getting every time that went around actually helped me stay in the game longer and helped me learn even more. So generally speaking, the number one rule here that I learned that night was don't kill it if it doesn't affect you. Let somebody else deal with it. I have the habit of wanting to control the board and could take out everything that's there. Don't do it. If it's not directly killing you, let somebody else handle it. Save your removal for saving you. The second thing that I learned is every card in your deck needs to be useful. This sounds completely obvious, but the fact that so many wheels were played, I would draw 7 new cards, and I would draw 7 new cards, and I was delighted to see that with my Ghoul Caller Gisa deck, every 7 cards that I looked at had synergy with the other cards in my hand or the cards that were already on the battlefield. And I think that's something that needs to be considered in deck building. Don't just put everything in towards a single goal of getting a combo piece out or what have you. Put cards in that synergize with other cards in your deck, and I think the idea here is gaining incremental advantage, and that is far more efficient because every time I wheeled, I got 7 new cards, and I could see plays that were going to improve my position in the game going forward. Having said that, I didn't win, but it kept me in the game longer and I played more, which actually brings us to our third point. The third thing that I learned, and that is oftentimes you'll hear people say the gathering in Magic the Gathering is the most important thing. Recently getting a chance to visit with somebody that's new to the game and being able to play in the local game store was a great afternoon. Sitting down with my friends to play Commander in this pod of 4 of us was great. However, more important than the gathering is participation. Gathering's great. Let's be honest, though. I've had terrible days where I've lost every game that I've played, but if I contributed to those games, if I made plays during those games, if my play mattered, I felt better about that. Win or lose, I felt better about the participation in this. This now goes to have a deck that is synergistic with itself and one that will let you play and win more games and have more fun. Even if you don't win, have more fun by playing synergistic decks. Going full circle, there's nobody to blame but yourself but me if you're not playing a deck that is well synergized. I think I've talked for about enough now. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments, you think that I overlooked something or completely wrong, you think, whatever you think, leave it in the comments down below. Thanks.